April 10th, 1963, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The USS Thresher cuts through the frigid Atlantic waters, carrying 129 souls into the deep. This isn't just any submarine. She's the Navy's newest attack submarine, the pride of America's nuclear fleet. At the height of the Cold War, nuclear submarines like the Thresher represent the ultimate weapon beneath the waves. Today's mission? A routine test dive. Nothing more than standard procedures. But the 129 men aboard don't know they're sailing toward history's most catastrophic submarine disaster. Among them are 17 civilian technicians from Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Fathers, husbands, sons. 9:23 a.m. The Thresher's final transmission crackles through the radio. Quote, "Experiencing minor difficulty, have positive up angle, attempting to blow," end quote. Those garbled words would be the last anyone would ever hear from the USS Thresher. In seconds, 129 lives would vanish into the crushing darkness of the Atlantic deep. But this tragedy was just the beginning of an even darker story. A story of ignored warnings, covered-up failures, and a Navy that would lie for 5 long years. If you're finding value in this, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. The warning signs were there, hidden in test reports and maintenance logs. Silver brazed joints, the Thresher's Achilles heel. During earlier pressure tests, these joints had failed catastrophically. The Navy knew, they had the data, they ignored it. At Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, repairs were rushed. Corners were cut. Quality control inspectors raised red flags about pipe fittings. Their concerns were documented, then buried. During sea trials, near-miss incidents plagued the submarine. Emergency services, system failures, each one a warning. Navy brass demanded operational status, pressure mounted. The Cold War waited for no one, not even safety. Every failed test became acceptable risk. Every concern manageable. The Thresher was certified seaworthy despite the mounting evidence. 129 men would pay the ultimate price for this willful blindness. As we discussed, the warning signs were there. But on April 10th, 1963, those ignored red flags became a death sentence. At 9:17 a.m., 8,400 feet beneath the Atlantic, disaster struck with devastating speed. A critical pipe joint in the engine room failed. Not slowly, not with warning, catastrophically. Seawater erupted into the engine compartment with the force of a fire hose. But this wasn't just flooding. When salt water hit the electrical systems, everything began shorting out. Power fluctuated, systems failed. The crew fought desperately to surface. But the Thresher was already past the point of no return. 1,300 feet. That was the Thresher's maximum safe depth. They were now 6 times deeper. Above them, the USS Skylark received broken, desperate transmissions. Fragments of final words from dying men. The last coherent message. Attempting to blow. They were trying emergency ballast procedures to surface. But physics doesn't negotiate. The ocean doesn't forgive. At 8,400 feet, the pressure was absolute. At 9:18 a.m., the USS Thresher reached her crush depth. What happened next took milliseconds. The hull imploded. Instantly, completely. 129 men died in a fraction of a heartbeat. Above, the Skylark heard only silence. The Thresher had vanished from existence in the blink of an eye. But the real tragedy wasn't just the implosion. It was what the Navy did next. But the Navy's response to this catastrophe would prove almost as shocking as the disaster itself. The first official statement was carefully worded. USS Thresher was simply overdue. For days, families clung to hope. Their loved ones weren't dead, they were just missing. The Navy launched what they called a search and rescue operation. But the deep-sea cameras told a different story entirely. Scattered debris, twisted metal fragments, pieces no larger than a telephone booth. The evidence was unmistakable. Thresher hadn't simply sunk, it had been crushed. Yet for 5 long years, the Navy kept this truth buried. Families were told their sons and husbands had died in a flooding incident. The word implosion never appeared in official reports. It wasn't until 1968 that congressional hearings finally exposed the cover-up. Under oath, Navy officials admitted what they'd known all along. Thresher had imploded instantly at crushing depth. 129 men died in milliseconds. The families had lived with a lie for half a decade. From the depths of tragedy, change was born. The Navy could no longer hide behind lies. 129 lives demanded answers. Within months, the SubSafe program was born. Every submarine would be rebuilt from the ground up. No more corners cut. No more rushed deadlines. Human lives now outweighed political pressure. Every pipe joint, every weld, every system underwent mandatory certification that could never be bypassed. The emergency blow system that failed Thresher was completely redesigned. New backup systems, redundant safety measures. The mistakes that killed 129 would never happen again. At Arlington National Cemetery, a memorial stands, 129 names etched in stone. Lieutenant Commander John Wesley Harvey, Machinist Ronald Williams, Civilian Engineer Kenneth Schuster. Each name represents a family destroyed, a future stolen, a price paid for the Navy's negligence. But their sacrifice was not in vain. Since SubSafe, no submarine has been lost to hull failure. Thousands of submariners have returned home safely because of lessons written in blood. The USS Thresher remains 8,400 feet below, a tomb and a teacher. 129 souls who died so that others might live. If this opened your eyes, smash that like button and subscribe for more.